And in the Sam Harris and Jordan Peterson debate, would you say that you were, I mean, you've talked about your concerns of what happens if we lose religion or religious faith. Would you say you're closer to Jordan or to Sam on that point? It sounds like you're closer to Jordan.
I'm slightly equidistant. I don't have Sam's belief. Let me put it another way, I don't have Sam's faith in the idea that if we just brush away the remaining bracken from religion, left by religion, that we get to this reasonable, rational world. And I wish him obviously well, not just as a friend, but I wish him well in pursuing that idea and winning. But there's an awful lot of historical examples of people trying something relatively similar and then discovering that they're right back at square one. When Danton and Robespierre are standing outside Notre Dame in Paris after the Revolution, and they work out that they can make this a cathedral of reason. You know, I mean, there's a lot about the pursuit of reason and rationalism that suggests that we're not great at it, actually, individually or collectively. Or to put it another way, that we can keep on doing just terrible things and sometimes newly terrible things. So that's an obvious prejudice, as it were, of my own. And yet I think that what Jordan is saying or doing with religion, which I think is extraordinary and admirable, and apart from anything else, quite amazingly multi-disciplinary. I mean, that's one of the amazing things about what he's been able to do, and what was a pleasure about listening to him and watching him in those debates. He was, one evening, I think, in Dublin, he just tried to only approach things from using biology. You know, and it's an amazing sight and achievement. But I'm not sure where that's going. I'm sympathetic with Sam when he tries to pin Jordan down, and Jordan gets out of the pinning down. I'm sympathetic to both of them in that. My own position on it, I suppose, is that I'm pretty willing to answer the questions that Sam would pose on, I don't know, Jordan, for instance, would find it, doesn't want to, won't, well, no, let me be. If you asked Jordan, do you believe in the physical resurrection? He would not say yes or no. He would do a brilliant extrapolation of a lot of thoughts. And maybe that is right. Maybe you shouldn't be able to just yes or no. I think in my own case, I can say I'm pretty confident it didn't happen. But I'm confident to say that it didn't, pretty much confident to say it didn't happen. And also say that doesn't mean that I'm going to follow Sam Harris into a world of pure reason and rationalism, because I don't think it's much more achievable. I think I've myself arrived at the position of believing you have to be careful on warring on things which have given you something of worth. And I respect Jordan's enormous ability and passion in trying to re-inject that particular part of worth back into the substructure of the society, which I think is one of the things he's managing to do.
Do you have any sense, I mean, you're sort of saying that we can't do without religion in some sense, or we can't sort of reinvent our own values. We've shown many times that we can't reinvent our own values. Do you have any sort of sense of how we kind of resolve that? Is it a new religion? Is it a new kind of
historically, it's the invention of a new religion or war. It's a pretty good time if you wanted to start a religion. Now would be a great time. Thought must have crossed your mind. If you were to claim, since no one's done it very plausibly for a while, but if you were to claim that you had yourself dipped the bucket right down into the well and brought up a bucket full of the real thing, you could do quite well these days. I think it's one of the... I sensed in the debates with Sam and Jordan, I sensed that it was one of the things that was constantly hovering. I don't know if you agree, but constantly hovering over the events. Jordan in London gave a very moving and spellbinding description of a conversation.
The sort of prophet nature of the two of them, you mean?
Yes, specifically focusing on Jordan, I think. I think that Sam's followers and admirers I think aren't expecting any kind of breakout beyond what he's said. I mean, there's lots more for Sam to cover and talk about, but I don't think there's anything they don't think they've... I don't think they think there's anything that hasn't yet happened, in a way. And I thought that when Jordan started describing in London a conversation with a figure of what he saw as God the Father, you could sense in the audience a feeling of, is something going to happen now? It was a spellbinding moment. But there's something, it just goes back to the point I was trying to make, is that a plausible attempt to reassert a set of very basic truths and claims that religions have always made, we're very ripe for that at the moment. And my own view is that we're quite lucky that some total charlatan and shit hasn't come along with enormous power already to do that. Maybe it's less possible in the modern information age than it would have been even in the time of the founder of Mormonism, but let alone in what used to be called the age of the prophets. But it's always there, isn't it? And if you have things like massive societal upheaval or war or catastrophic events, we're all totally available, aren't we? It's terrifying.